Okay, so I went ahead and put hazelnut creamer in here. Hey, what's up, Todd? Good to see ya. So glad you can make it. So as you can see, I put some hazelnut creamer in there. It's powder. I ran out. I did not get to go to the store today. I went to the gym instead. So Arts with Emil, how you doing? So drinking coffee with me. That's so cool. So I'm glad to hear that, Emil. Coffee is great. Coffee and art, I think those are like one of the two best combinations, I say, in this life, right, guys? Yes, have coffee. It's so important. Oh, I printed this out, so let me go get the printout. And what we're going to do today is we're going to draw this out. You know how much of a stickler I am for having a strong drawing. Let me go ahead and pull up the reference so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to put it on my Painting Glyphs website as well. And I have a story about this picture, which I think you guys are going to enjoy. So you know, stay tuned for the story behind this. So it's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pictures and okay, so here's the picture. Hey Jay, good to see you. How's it going? So here's the reference that I'm working with. So the story behind the reference, I was going on the internet and I saw this incredible photo and I was like, oh my God, I would just love to paint this, but it wasn't mine, it was the photographer's. So I looked him up on the internet and I got his email address, looked at his website, saw all the beautiful photography, and I emailed him and he emailed me back, and he was so gracious to let me go ahead and paint this image. So that's a good way to find images to paint. You know, I think a lot of photographers are very cool and they're just so happy to do it. michaeldavidadams.com. I'm going to put a link in the description for those who are watching it after today. I want you to go ahead and look up his photography. He's here in New York City. So michaeldavidadams.com. Let me, there it is, michaeldavidadams.com. Definitely look him up. Such a cool guy and such a talented artist, and was so gracious so I could go ahead and paint this. And so I'm excited and I think that's really cool. Let me go get my reference paper. So I just printed this out. This is what I'm going to be working from. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just so beautiful. Her name is Katarina. So how amazing is that? Very, very amazing. Okay, so what we're going to do is, before we do anything, we're going to do a lot of cool things here. Yes, he does. Really fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to do some frisket. But we're going to do some creative frisket where we're going to have the frisket on there, spray in certain areas, peel it away, and not have any frisket, or even soften it up, which is going to be pretty exciting. So this is going to be advanced frisket, guys. You know, really advanced. Nothing like you've seen before. Tone, how's it going? Good to see you, man. Having some coffee, hazelnut powdered creamer. Starting another one. So the airbrush is all fired up and ready to go. But first we're going to go ahead and we are going to work on the drawing. Make sure that the structure, the girders of the building are really in good shape before we go any further, especially, you know. So can you guys see? Hey, Brad, good to see you. How's it going, my friend? So glad you can make it. All right. See if I can darken this just a little bit. How do you guys see that well? What do you guys think? Did you see it better before? Let me see if I can just increase the contrast just a tad bit. Hey guys, you know part one is always interesting, right? You never know what you're going to get, like a box of chocolates, as they say. So let's go ahead and just start working on this beautiful portrait, this beautiful image by Michael David Adams, michaeldavidadams.com. So please check him out. Such an amazing photographer to let me go ahead and paint this. You know, how amazing is that? Such a great person. So I really appreciate that. Chocolate, Willie, definitely. Willie, I'm glad you're back. We missed you last week. So cool. I know you work real early hours, so hey, that's understandable, right? We definitely understand. So what I'm trying to do is really make sure that I didn't project anything weird, right? We want to make sure that everything is pretty much congruent to what we want to paint. This is such an important stage of the game, you know. My guest, how's it going? Good to see you. How are you? So we made it. You know, the day went away from me, got away from me. I went to the gym. I sent out some ink mixtures. I posted another airbrush for sale on Facebook, and you know, finished a piece for eBay. You know, this was a very, very good and busy day, which is good, right? No winner yet, and I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So cool, Mike. Yes, about the free. Now I did speak to Roger, who is the editor for Airbrush Step by Step, and he's excited that we're going to announce the winner next week. But we want to give you another chance, so that's going to be cool. So one more week, and then I'm going to have another giveaway, a personal giveaway, which is going to be exciting for you guys. So I'm excited about that. There we go. And you see, I'm just sort of working on that. Wendy says she's having coffee too. So cool. So that's great. Oh man, I'm so sorry about that, Mike. It's just, life has been so crazy, and if I definitely will get back to you by tomorrow, I promise. Italian sweet cream, that has to be from Aldi's. Is that true, Wendy? They make a good one. Hey, Todd, glad you're back, man. So as you can see, I'm just going to start refining, and I really want to stress how important it is to, how crucial it is to work on the drawing, you know? Just so very, very important. Because if the drawing is off, it doesn't matter. It's like putting, you know, putting new wine in old wine barrel. You know, it's just you definitely want to. You definitely want to make sure that everything is perfect. I looked, Wendy, for the distilled water, and it was. Uh, they said they didn't have it at our Aldi's, which I was bummed. I'm gonna go to ShopRite, which is a supermarket here. I think that's the best way. So, Mike, I promise I'm gonna email you tomorrow. That's a promise. I'm just so sorry. It's so difficult. So many different things going on right now, and I definitely should have gotten back to you. So I do apologize. So this mono eraser, and the link is in the description, and it's really quite fantastic. Because I've been making the ink mixtures, sending them out. I've been selling artwork and sending them out. So it's been quite crazy, and I have online classes, and so all those things sort of get the best of me. So it feels like I'm going until the night, right? It's like I never stop. Life was easier or less hectic when I had a regular full-time job and not doing art for a living. So as you can see, we're just oh, you got distilled water at Shoppers Drug Mart. Okay, that's cool. So like a Rite Aid or a CVS here in the States. So right here is very tricky, so I'm going to be very careful. So only a few bucks, that's not bad. And the same here. I'm just going to now it's tricky because the eyelid, you're seeing actually the lower eyelid here. The under part of her eyelid, of the upper eyelid, that's what you're seeing. So what we do on this side, we're going to go ahead and do on this side. So we don't want one side to be ahead of another. I always spend time doing this stage. Why? Because it's so important. You screw up here, you're doomed. So you might as well spend as much time as you can here. I don't care how good you are with the airbrush. If the drawing stinks and you didn't take your time, it's going to be nothing but headaches. Nothing but headaches. Trust me, that's something you can definitely trust me about. And so have you guys ever done that where you've seen a picture on the internet, you love it, and reached out to the photographer and just said, I just have to paint that. It's just such an amazing image. Have you done that? And if you did, what kind of reaction did you get? Was it successful? Yeah, never trust projection. Never trust any kind of transfer. I don't care. And we're not those kind of artists where we just cut out Xerox and spray through the cutouts. We don't do that here. And we use very little stencils. Very little. Oh, cool. Oh, so never responded, Emil says. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, sometimes you'll get nothing, and that does happen. It's such a bummer because there was so many like really great images, but it's their prerogative not to get back to us, right? Now, Emil says he did ask a British photographer for the old guy's pic, and he approved. Nice. Oh, that's a fantastic deal. 18 for $3? You can't beat that. I'd jump on that. That's almost like a couple of years supply. That is a couple of years supply on needed erasers. So as you can see, I'm just bringing things to life here, Oh, he even gave you a whole section of nudes. That's fantastic. That's really nice. See, they're really cool people. They're artists just like us, and they're happy to help if they're, if they're on the cool side. Most of them are. As you can see, we are just bringing her to life. You know, you always want to trust your eye more than anything. So I'm going to be using two resources. I'm going to be using the picture that you see there digitally, and also the printout. The printout's so important because you're seeing it in 2 dimensions, right? You really are. You're seeing it, you know, as you were painting it. So that's so important. I don't do it the same exact size necessarily. I mean, it kind of is close to the same size, but I don't do that on purpose. That doesn't really matter to me. Oh, okay, only on automotive for that cutout technique. I understand. Yeah. It just takes away the fun, and to me the drawing is like the most important fun part. It's where we get our handwriting, you know? And I would really hate to lose that personal, you know? And when I teach my online classes, you know, which I do, and via Skype, and I really, you know, urge artists to go ahead and either project and redraw or use other methods such as graphite paper. Even the grid method would be cool. Wendy says she can't read her own handwriting. So as you can see, I'm going to be working on the lips here, her lips, Katarina's lips. Now what's interesting, if you notice with lips, is that, and I'll show you here, this is important for you to see. And so today is like a little drawing lesson, I guess. So if we look at her lips, there isn't a delineated line, right? You don't see a delineated line at all. What you see is that sort of bleeding into the skin. You see that? Now that's important to take note because we're working on hard and soft edges. So that's a very soft edge compared to this bottom lip here, which is against the darkness of her mouth. Same thing here. You know, it bleeds in, gets a little sharper, and then just totally bleeds out. Same thing with the corner. So, you know, don't go ahead and do like a delineated lips, because that's not the way lips work, unless she's wearing like really strong lipstick. But even then, it's going to be relatively soft. Oh, I see. That's a good method, Tone, definitely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Brad. So Brad is a current student of mine via Skype. He's in Canada. I'm in Jersey. So, and we have classes, and I'm currently doing classes with Wendy. Wendy's in Texas, and I'm in New Jersey. And it's all via Skype, which is really important. Now the class prices are going up pretty soon. So, you know, right now, if you go ahead and put a deposit, you can lock in that price. So, you know, now's the time, if you're interested, to go ahead and do that. I'm not doing that to pressure anyone or anything, but I do have to raise the prices in a little bit in 2020. Oh, so Emil says, Tim, I purchased a clear laminate called Easy Liner to use as frisket. Do you think it'll work? Haven't used it yet. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Good to see you. Now, here's the caveat, Emil. Make sure you do a test. You take it out, you peel it off, put it on the wall several times so it loses some of its glue. Put it on the piece of paper similar to what you're going to be working on as a test. Peel it off. See if it works. Does it peel off the paper? Do a test before, because you haven't done it yet. You haven't touched it. So, you definitely want to make sure that laminate is, is safe. So, Amia, where are you? And are you here in the States, or are you, abroad, like in Europe or something? I think you're international, right? I'm pretty sure. Yes, there you now to oh, you're in LA. So there's a link on my YouTube page. Did you get that one? It's $5.99. So go on my Facebook page. There's some for $5.99. If that doesn't work, try that one. It's an Amazon link. And I'll tell you, that stuff works amazing, that clear contact paper. And it's only $5.99 for like several yards. It's really amazing price. And it's just as good as the other one. It doesn't damage the paper. But the trick is to always test it, Emil. That's so true. So as you see, I'm really, really, looking in, really looking into, getting all the things linear. So as you can see, coffee, right? See that right there? Oh, so my store is in a description. It's my Amazon store, and there's other products. This stuff is not in that store yet, but you can go on my Facebook. I think I put it up about a week ago, and you'll see that link for that. And of course, that's an affiliate link. I get a really teeny weeny tiny commission, which really doesn't do anything, but it's a way to, if you're going to purchase it anyway, it just helps out the channel, and that's always cool. A couple of bucks here and there. So always appreciate it if you purchase from the affiliate links, because it helps out the channel, and maybe later I can get some really cool cool new equipment, which I'm thinking of doing. So as you see, we are just working, and yes, sticky, removable, and clear. Crescent City, California. That sounds pretty cool. So Todd's in, how cool is that? Todd's in San Diego. So that's a very beautiful city. Haven't been, but just heard great things about that place. Oh, about an hour from Arcata. So that's really great. I've been out to California once, and I'll tell you, I had a great time there. I was in San Francisco, and we just had a wonderful time. And that was a long time ago. And if Maria is watching, that's who I spent time with out there, and just amazing. One of my best memories ever. But that was a long time ago. Oh, the very top border of Oregon. Wow, that's cool. The Bay Area is so beautiful. Brad says he knew that, and he's Canadian. But I love my winters, so I would have a hard time. I do love the winters, guys, that's for sure. So we're going to come in with the white, which is going to be a lot of fun, Yes, the Bay Area is like New York, just too expensive to afford. So now here we have the ear, and in a projection we weren't able to get the whole ear, but we can now, because now I can see it in my reference. So that's basically, Rick, good to see you. So glad you can make it, my friend. So you know how the part one goes. A lot of it is the drawing as we're doing now. So this is the most important part, you know. Might not be the most exotic, but definitely the most important part, because if we neglect this part, we're going to be in trouble throughout, you know. Texas is so hot because of all the hot women. You hear that, Wendy? Yes, Wendy, I can see the Empire State Building on a clear night right from my house, and let me look right now if it's clear. So it looks like the Empire State Building is blue and white right now. So can I recommend a good affordable projector? I've been out of the market for projectors, but I know there's some people here who recently bought projectors or have been shopping. So I know Brad was searching for projectors, right, sir? And I know Brad knows a lot about that because he's recently in the market for one. So as you can see, it's so important to get all of these angles correct. So as you can see, all I'm doing is really drawing this out, making sure that, because you're not going to catch everything in the projection. This is where your drawing skills come in. So if you see, like right here is the chin, but then the hair doesn't start too much further out. So if I was to start here, I'd be wrong. So I have to start out about here. See how looking at angles is so important. Crucial, actually. You definitely want a digital projector. What I use, guys, is what they use in, you know, corporate boardrooms, you know, when they have their boring ass meetings, you know, talking about God knows what to God knows who for hours, you know, and they show those things. Yeah, so that would definitely be something like that. That's really fantastic, and I really love that because it's really high quality and it isn't too expensive. You can get, you know, maybe one that's refurbished or something for a very good rate. That's something to think about. There we go. So just working on that. Now the art ones, yeah, the art ones are a little overpriced because they're making money on the artist, and those companies do whatever they can to make money off of us. So, you know, they're going to fleece us every chance they get. So definitely, you know, do your shopping. You can get ones that are really inexpensive. Now, it's going to be for your computer, so make sure what kind of computer you have. Do you have HDMI connection? Do you have a digital connection or one of those old VGA connections? Those are things that you're really going to have to look into. Yeah, I'm glad it's working now, Wendy, that's for sure. And just making sure that I have everything good and my angles. See how this angle I went too far out? Those are all important to make sure you have correct. And we're just going to continue drawing until we have this to the point where we're happy. Now remember, you know, you're an artist, so you're going to be using that a lot. So get the best one you possibly can get, you know. But if you're on a budget, you know, there are ways I could, you know, help you to save some bucks, you know, because you need one, but you might not have the money to get a brand new one. So, you know, definitely go on eBay, look for used ones, look and see what kind of connection you have. That's very important. Refurbished ones are a good way to save money too. Hey Ray, how you doing? So Ray's the guy to talk to. He just purchased a small one about maybe 2, 3 months ago. Ray, Mark is looking for a digital projector. Which one did you get, Ray? Because Ray got a good deal. I remember he was very happy with it. Am I right? Craigslist is a way. I'm not gonna say that. I want to be demonetized. That is too funny. Yes, that's hilarious. So we definitely got to make sure that we're not going too crazy with this drawing, that we have a drawing we're happy with before we start going in with the airbrush. Well, we're going to do the white first. So I'll tell you, this airbrush that I'm using is my favorite for doing the white is the not this one. This is not the one. This is the Arrow 105. I love this airbrush, by the way. I modified that. But let me show you this one. So Ken was nice enough to share with me this particular airbrush is the Badger 100G. It's just a really great airbrush, and it's perfect for doing the white. You know, it seems to not get clogged at all, and you know, you just have a lot of control. So I use this airbrush just for the white mixture. So definitely that's a fine airbrush. It's the Badger 100G old school airbrush. A Flare 150. So that is the Flare 150. Look that up, guys. You know, definitely look that up. That might be the answer, you know. And now, there was a lot of really good functions with that. Am I right? You know, you can change the contrast and whatnot with that. I remember you saying the size, aspect ratio, all that stuff. So that's pretty exciting. Yes, the Badger 100G, which is great. Oh, so Wendy, you got the Patriot, the regular Patriot, right? The 105. You didn't get the Arrow. I love the Arrow. My arrow is my baby. There it is. I use it all the time. You can even see it's even like turning green from my skin over here. So it's about 8 hours a day, 10 hours on a good day. There we go. So I'm sort of happy. Oh, they were not selling the arrow. Well, the thing is, I'm not sure. I would check the website and check and see what's happening with that. But I think they were selling the arrow now, but I don't know if is that still going on, the happy birthday sale? On USAairbrushsupply.com. Now, if you have the 105, that's the same. You know, the Patriot, the Extreme Patriot 105. It just has a bigger cup, so you basically have it. It's just a bigger cup, the same exact airbrush, Wendy. So that's cool. Oh, so you were looking into the Venkyo. Okay, that sounds good for a projector, definitely. $250 to $300. For 500. Brad wants to make some money, man. That's funny. So over the last week, I've sold 2 of my custom microns. Since I'm with Badger, I don't use iWater anymore. They were in perfect condition. I sold the CMSB and the CMC Plus, and right now I'm selling my side feed Eclipse, so that's a good deal. So I'm definitely selling all of my pristine condition iWatas. I may do a short live stream tomorrow. Probably I'll do a live stream tomorrow. I would say probably at early afternoon on Facebook. Just, you know, showing off the airbrush that I'm selling, what condition it is in, and it comes with a free set of ink mixtures, which is really cool. Yeah, the Sidewinder Extreme. That's a nice looking airbrush, but I'm just not a big fan. Now you guys can understand why I don't like side feeds, because I'm working horizontally, and with a side feed cup, it's a little precarious. So I always go with the gravity fed, or you know, just like this the Slim, the Sotar Slim, but definitely want to go with, don't like side feeds. You know, I don't see the advantages. I mean, honestly. So you guys tell me, I'm having an open mind. What are the advantages of the side feed, you know? Oh, I see the 105 2 Extreme Patriot Arrow. I see. Hey John, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for coming by. So John is new, so I'm so glad you're here. So, you know, welcome. This is such a cool group, John. So I know you're going to enjoy the conversation here. A lot of cool people. So it's the view, right? So now you like the, good to see you, John. No, thank you. Thank you for coming by. Now, so I have no problem with the, you know, see the thing is, I guess I don't see it because I'm the one who, you know, paints like off at a 45-degree angle, you know, so I'm always seeing it. But I can see, yes. With the side feed, you get to spill your ink. I can't tell you how many times that has happened with me. That's why I abandoned the side feed for me. You know, it ruined enough of my. Remember, I work horizontally, so it goes right over Willie. So that was horrible, horrible, horrible. Just a, you know. I didn't cry, but you know what? I came close to it. I said some bad words. You too, Willie. You know? Yeah, some great people here. We hear every week, 9:30. These are our regulars. And we just have a good time. Now, you're coming in on part one, Dave, which is really fantastic. John, because it's really fantastic. So you do about 6 to 7. You know, 6 to 7, you know, episodes of this. You know, part 1, 2, 3, 4 until it's done. So you really get to see it. So, Laurent, how you doing? All the way from France. Bonjour. How cool is that? So, Tim, what was the question? I'm not sure. Oh, the question was, what do you guys... Mike, what do you think of the side feed? What are the advantages for you? So John hasn't drawn in 37 years. Well, that's just perfect because now you get to draw and have a fresh new outlook on it. So that's great. You know, that's a very cool position to be in, is going from the beginning. Laurent purchased my ink mixtures from France, so he's a very cool guy. I'm so glad that he's there. So that's so exciting. So we have such a great group today, and I'm very fortunate to have everybody here, and I just really thank you guys for that. Taking time out of your day to, you know, hang out, talk about airbrushing, you know. That's so great. And so let's just make sure we get these angles correct. And so this is so important. I really can't stress. Now, this is interesting. So let's look at the reference, right? We see right here, and now this is very important, and especially for you, John, you're getting back into drawing. So if you look at the drawing here, you'll see that her shoulder is very hard edged here, and then it gets so soft edged, almost disappears. The edge disappears. Then it disappears into the light here of her chin, and then comes back just at her cheek. So that's so important to really see and understand when you're drawing, because if you don't do that, oh, that would be great. Todd says he has Wednesdays off, so he'll be trying to make every week. That's fantastic. That's exciting. You know, we really love our regulars here, you know, and the support and everything, and just have a great time. Wednesday seems to be my favorite day of the week, you know, honestly. I even did Christmas and New Year's Day. How crazy is that, right? So that's how much I love it. Cake is always important, that's for sure. Yes, I drank all my coffee, so that's good. It wasn't the best. It was this powdered creamer. I wasn't able to get the creamer today. Forgot to go to, I think I went to the post office. Wait, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to have to sneeze in a moment. Okay, you see, it's kind of interesting here, her shoulder. If you look at it, kind of comes down here. This is probably her chromium process, I'm not sure, but we got to make sure that we get that correct. Now, we're going to have to make sure that all these lines are good before we start frisketing. So how much of the pencil drawing is going to show through the ink? Hardly any, because the great thing about this technique, John, is that the ink erases, the pencil erases after the ink is put down. And the white that I use is perfect as well, this white mixture. It's basically made with the Createx illustration white, 50/50 white, and that's half of the 4012 reducer and half of the 4012 reducer and the white, and it just does great. And we're going to be doing that today, which is really cool. My guest says, well, if I'm painting straight down or up, I can tilt the cup, which is nice when doing stuff on a car, van, a motorcycle. I could see that. Okay, that's cool. No, it's good. It's important that I hear your guys' views on it. Me and Willie had just bad experiences, right, Willie? So, for touch-ups on scratches of stone chips, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. So what we're going to do is, I believe I am going to go ahead and get out the frisket. And I'll show you the frisket that I'm using, and we'll cut that. So let me just blow my nose. Okay, so I'm going to go get a, before we go any further, I think we can go ahead and be fairly happy with the drawing at this stage. Just any changes, we can go ahead and make those changes, you know. So I'm pretty happy with this. Now, we have some really beautiful lines here, and I want to retain that. We want to have the background, which is good. Does frisket go bad after a while? I have frisket from like 7 years ago, and it's perfect. So I don't think so. I think if you leave it like, you know, in the elements or in the light or something, but if you have it in your studio and, you know, in, you know, controlled environment as far as temperature, I think it'll last for a very long time. So I just want to get this part straight. I'm not going to use frisket here because where I'm definitely going to use frisket is where the values are really different. So right here we're going to need some frisket from here to here because this is really dark. So this edge right here, super dark, and we want to get that crisp edge. If you don't use frisket, you're not going to get that edge. You will get that edge, but it won't be as beautiful. And that's what we want. We want beautiful edges. And we want people to say, how in the world did they keep that so clean? And, you know, invariably, frisket, you know? Oh, it's brand new, unwrapped. Okay. Yes, Wendy says, unless it's gotten hot, it should be okay. I made the mistake in the early going is, you know, getting those small, you know, getting all different kinds of frisket. It can be very expensive. You need it. You definitely need it. The more you airbrush, the more you're going to realize how much you do need to frisket. So I'm like trying to save you guys money. If anything I find, I definitely want to save you guys money. That's important. So like I said, we're going to come in with the white mixture. So with that white mixture, we want to definitely have frisket covering this, right? We don't want that to cause a problem. So we're going to have to think about this strategically, like chess. You know, like a chess player thinks about 6-7 moves ahead of time. So that's so important. I do have some frisket here in the room here. Actually, it's in the other studio. Be right back. Okay, so what we're going to have to do, this is the frisket. We're going to have to cut a piece. That's the size of this 8 by A4 paper, which is 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to go ahead and just measure this very quickly. me get my marker out. So and you don't gotta be like, you know, precision. And then here. That should be fine. So I'm just going to go in the other studio, cut this. I'll be right back. Okay, Tim's back. So basically, we have this A4 size. So now what we have to do is we have to peel this off, and then we're gonna, I'll show you my technique. We all have different techniques, of course, but this works for Tim. So I'm just trying to find that corner right there. And I just tear off that corner. And it's good to take off these gloves when you're frisket. You don't want to stick into the gloves. If it's sticking to your hand, it's no big deal. But the glove will be a pain in the neck. So I'm going to peel this off and I'm going to put it on the wall a couple of times. So let me go ahead and peel this off. So I am peeling. And then once I peel it completely off, I just make sure that it doesn't stick to itself. That's important. So I have it peeled, and I'm going to stick it on a wall a couple of times. I want to get rid of the excess glue. So that's so important. So I got rid of some excess glue. I also picked up some stuff from the wall, but nothing that's going to really cause any damage, we hope. Okay, so we go ahead and put this face down so it fits, and it's a little bit bigger. So go like that, and you see, and you take a credit card, in my case a credit card that is no longer active, and just like so. Now what we do, hey Gloria, how's it going? Good to see ya. So glad you can make it. How are you? Okay, so we're going to take our razor blade and we're going to lightly cut off the excess so it's like we have a perfect piece. I'll show you. You don't want to kill your table, but you'll see how we could just pull that off like that. And we'll do the same on this side. And what it's going to do is when you cut it like this, it's as if it's a perfect piece. Like you cut it perfectly. And you just go right along the side, the edge there. Look at that. And the final side. There we go. Now if you look at it, it's a perfect piece of frisket, absolutely as if I cut it perfectly. Hey Ron, good to see you. How are you, my friend? Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now our game plan. So here we have this here. So now what we have to do, decide, are we going to do the background first? Are we going to do the white first? I would say let's go ahead and we'll do her first and then we'll worry about the background later. I think that's a good route to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting around her, and I'm going to see if I have this blade is sharp. I think it's pretty sharp. And I'm just going to cut around. So this is good. You don't get too much too many live streams showing you how to do frisket. So like hocus pocus, right? But on my live stream, I'm going to show you how to do the down and dirty stuff. And you don't want to put down too heavy, right? You want to definitely, you go too heavy, you're going to go through the paper. Now I'm using 184 pound paper by Colorline, and it's pebble gray. But if you're using, let's say, a 94 pound paper or something like that, you better be very light. You just want to cut the frisket. You do not want to cut the paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove her and leave the background intact. And you know what I'm also going to do is I'm going to keep this cutout here, and I am going to use that later. And I'm also going to show you how I'm going to peel back the frisket in certain areas, because there are no hard edges in certain spots. So if I just went ahead and put a hard edge, then I'm going to have to work hard to get rid of that hard edge. So if anyone's saying any comments right now, I can't comment just now because I'm going crazy working on the frisket here. So I will get to your questions later. Promise. This takes utmost like 110% concentration. And really be in the game, like really, you know, ask yourself what you're doing when you're cutting. Do not just go on autopilot with this, because you will ruin your work before it starts. Trust me, been there, done that. So you don't want to, when you can, for the longest time, don't take the blade off of the paper. Okay, so there are a lot of techniques to, you know, when you put the paper on. Let me see if this, yeah, that doesn't work. So I'm thinking of something like a pencil or maybe a pen. Let me see how this works here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some X's right here, so when I bring back the frisket, hopefully I'll be able to line up these X's, because I want to use a frisket again, so that's really important. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so let's see what's happening with the arm here. The arm, you know, I don't need the frisket here on the arm. Same thing here. I could be careful on the arm, just as the shoulder. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove her, and we're going to start painting her today. So right now we went through the first hour, and we just worried about the drawing. And as you can see with the frisket, you have no problems whatsoever. So I'm going to keep this intact, and I'm going to put it on the wall so I could use it later. That's going to be very important. So now we're in good. Yes, I'm definitely going to do her first. So let's see. Now, the best thing that we can do right now is definitely come in with the white. So I'm going to fire up the 100G right here. And I have the top for it, and we are in good business. Now this is my white mixture, and now it's part of my Airbrush India ink series that you can purchase. So definitely look into that. And I'm going to go ahead and load this. Now this is very diluted, guys, so it's very thin. You don't want a thick ink, a thick white mixture. And let's see. So Gloria, what's happening with your phone? Oh no. Now, with the white mixture, before you go ahead and do anything with the white mixture or anything when you first fire up your phone, fire up your airbrush, and we're just going to make sure that the airbrush is working correctly, that the white is fine, everything looks good. Airbrushes. Remember, I upkeep my airbrush like crazy, so they do work because of how much I really pay attention to cleaning them. Okay, so here we go. We're going to stay a good distance away, and we're going to start extremely light. And let me see if I can darken a little bit so you can see. So this is like a very important stage here. Now it might take a second for the white to show up, but just hang in there, you know, it'll show up. Uh-oh, Gloria, 9%. Now don't worry about the pencil with this, because the pencil will erase underneath this illustration white here. So we're doing our white now because the white will not work if you have India ink on down here, and if you use the white, it'll be a disaster. So we're putting our whites now. You know, not our highlights, but our whites, our lightest values. You know what it is? I think two things, Wendy, that could be the issue. That you're too dark with the pencil, and also that you are too heavy with the application of the white mixture. So try adjusting those two, Wendy, and that should resolve that. So as you can see, we are now, her forehead is getting a lot of light. Now, distance is everything. I want you guys to paint in three dimensions. So painting in 3 dimensions means if you want to get lighter, you increase distance. If you want to get closer, you close the distance. That's where a huge amount of your control is going to be there. And I'm not oversaturating with white right now. I am being very, very, very slow in my application. If I'm gonna go over it again to make it lighter, so there's no reason to go crazy and overdo it because I'm coming back. So right now I'm just worrying about the values that are lighter than the gray of the paper. That's what's important. This is crucial stuff, so if you can, take notes, because this is where the rubber meets the road right here. This is really an important stage. Because this is where a lot of the groundwork for the rest of your painting lies. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Now we have this wonderful edge here, right there. So let's go ahead and go right up to that edge. Use that frisket, exploit the frisket, and really get this edge here. So when we peel that frisket later in the painting, that's really going to be beautiful, you know? I would say I'm about 3 inches from the surface right now. Okay, I'll come back to that. I don't want to oversaturate the area, but I did get that really beautiful light right there. Same thing right there. Look for those really nice edges where you can exploit a little bit. And that's what I'm doing right now. So, okay, so now I started with the white. So you see we have it beginning to almost become like a sculpture. And that's what we want. We want it to be like a bas relief, B-A-S, a bas relief sculpture. That's so important. And as you see, what we're going to do is just bring her into focus very slowly. So important. So where is it lighter? So that's what I'm asking myself. So I say it's lighter in this cheek here. So I'm going to apply a little bit more. If I don't see it, I'm not going to keep applying. I'm going to let it dry, probably like a half a second, you'll see that it dries. And I'm going to see how it looks on the big picture. I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy. How's the picture and the sound, guys, today? Good? Up to par? A lot of soft edges here, so I don't have to worry about frisket just yet. But right now I'm just looking to see. Now I'm looking at large areas. With this, you're not working on small areas. You know, we're not getting into little highlights in the lips and the ears and the eyes. That's something we're staying away from, you know? So as you can see, just building the light. That's all we're doing. And just very slowly building that white. So I'll be answering your questions after I do this here. This is pretty involved. But as you see, this is a technique where your painting starts to get three-dimensional. And this is sort of, setting the tone for the rest of the painting. And it really does. So what I have to do now is I really have to make sure that I am not oversaturating with the white. Just build the white slowly. Just as I build values, with the India ink, I'm going to build the white. And how do you do that? How do you get really nice gradations? Distance. The further you are, the smoother the transitions. Plus, you're going to let it dry and see where that's going. Remember, it's like about a half an inch to an inch is when you're going to actually see the white start to show up. See, it's a little bit whiter right here, so the light is catching the under part of her chin there. How cute is that? And there we go. And the same over here. Once again, this photograph was so wonderful to given to me permission to paint. This is a photograph taken by michaeldavidadams.com, and you can actually go to michaeldavidadams.com to see his wonderful photography. And this photograph is entitled Katarina. So I know he has an Instagram page, and I'm going to post that in the description if you want to go ahead and check him out. Please do. Really nice guy. Show some love and support for him. She looks a bit larger, isn't she? You mean the photograph? I'm not sure. It's still early, Wendy. Gloria. So I'm not sure. Everything's going to look a little bit different in the early going, as always. And we're just going to stick with that recipe and just continue. So, now she might look a bit larger because we haven't put the darks in. But, if we have to make any adjustments, we'll definitely do that. So now we're going to go ahead and work on her shoulder here. And we haven't really come in with any of the shadows, so that's why she may look larger, Gloria. And that's definitely the case. So the further away is when you get more of that, more of that blend, that softness. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let this dry, but while that's drying, there's some, you know, where we painted a little while ago, we can start erasing some of these lines. And let's see where we can. See if this erases here. And we just have to make sure that it's dry. And almost erase sort of like a dagger stroke in a sense. But don't erase those lines if you need them, you know. They might be, you know, pencil lines that you need, or maybe not. So just look for little pencil lines that you can erase. And that's going to help you to bring everything down. It's white against pebble gray, correct? Yes, it is definitely pebble gray. Okay, so now I'm pretty happy with the white. Actually, before we end, let me go ahead and just do a little more on the shoulder here. And then we're going to come in with the white, with the light mixture. Perfect, we ran out. Just in time. Now, this is interesting. So here's a quick thing. So you have the white mixture. White mixture is a son of a gun because that could really screw up your airbrush. So what I do is I take some water, and we'll switch cameras here. So I'm just going to take some water here and put that in like that. And I'm going to spray that out. And what I'm going to do after that's sprayed out, I'm going to take a rag and I'm just going to go ahead and, as you can see, just wipe that out, wipe that clean. Then I'm going to take my 4012 reducer right here, and I'm just going to, with the eyedropper, I'm going to put some of that 4012 reducer in, let me see, okay. So I'm going to put some of that 4012 reducer in my airbrush. You don't want to wait on this, so you want to do it quick. So all of these are really important lessons. You know, I think this is more important than just watching me paint, but all these things, how crucial that is. And then you're going to spray out the 4012 reducer. And then what you want to do is you take the back off, take off the needle. See, it's good because it was kind of stuck in there with the white. So, and then we'll just clean off that needle. Now here's one extra thing which is very important. You're going to take a Q-tip, put it in the 4012 reducer, and just make sure that none of the little fuzzy things get out, okay? You don't want to have a little fuzzy thing in your air canal there. There we go. Okay, so that's in good shape. So now we can go ahead and put the needle back in. And spray some water through that. And now you're okay. That airbrush is perfectly clean. So you don't got to worry about, you know, maybe I forgot to clean this airbrush. Do it now. Don't wait. Get it done. And now when you park this bad boy, next time you go to work it, it's going to be perfect. And that's what you want. Perfect airbrush every time. Now before I'm going to come in, now we're ready for the light mixture. Before I'm going to come with the light mixture, I'm always going to go ahead and make sure that I do a test. Now I was airbrushing earlier today, and so this is in there from earlier, and it's working perfectly. So we are in good shape and ready to go. So, oh, Wendy, so who's going to bed? So Gloria, so have a good night, Gloria. I will see you tomorrow, and don't worry about that phone. You're going to get a new phone soon. I just feel it in my gut, that's for sure. Yes, the paper is 184-pound Canson, so that's very important. Okay, so let me mute that TV. Okay, so now we're just going to go in and start working on some of these details with the light mixture. So now the everything is starting to come quickly, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is I always start with the eyes, right? Pretty much start with the eyes. Remember my 1 second rule, guys. If you're going to be painting for 1 second, look for 1 second. If you're going to be painting for 3 seconds, look for 3 seconds. No variation on this rule, except, you know, how many seconds and how many seconds you're looking has to be equal. Oh, so John, you're going. Have a great night, man. It's good to see you. Hope to see you next week. And if you have anyone has any questions, always feel free to email me or go on Facebook. Ink Flingers, would be glad to have you on our Ink Flingers group. And so, yes, definitely go on paintinglyphs.com. There you'll see my inks and information on the classes, stuff like that. Oh, John, before you go, just go ahead and leave a comment that you would like to be in the running for a free 1-year subscription to Airbrush Step-by-Step magazine. So go ahead and do that, and we're going to be announcing it next week. So all you have to do is hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and then you can go ahead and just leave that comment, and you're all set. And then next week we're going to do the drawing for the winner of the free year subscription to that magazine, which is fantastic. So I'm just paying close attention, and you know that's important. Yes, Ink Flingers Facebook group. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Yes, especially the white mixture, right, Brad? The white mixture really gives you control. At this stage is when you need it. You make a mistake with the white mixture, it's easier to fix, but you're not making a mistake because you're at a very low air pressure, and it's light, and you can build up your darks. So that's the beauty of it, is really that, you know. Paintinglyphs.com, that's correct. Thank you, Wendy. So as you can see with this light mixture, you can really get in there with detail. Remember, whatever I do on this eye, I do on the other eye. We don't want to, you know, have things look different. So we want to make sure that we keep things even. And remember, you know, don't think that, you know, eyes are perfectly round. They usually aren't. And I'm just painting in the pupil here. I'll worry about the white of the eye later. I mean the highlights. Yes, the paper is Colorline by Canson, and it's such a great line. And you want to get the 184 pound. What a difference 184 pound makes as far as cutting frisket and everything. When you're just starting out, you don't want anything less than 184 pound when you're cutting frisket, guys. That would just be so much more difficult. So yeah, so like I said before, like I was mentioning, the eyes are very rarely perfect circles because they're in perspective. And if you have a circle in perspective, it's not going to be a perfect circle. It's going to be an ellipse. And that's what you see a lot of times. You'll see ellipses, and also one eyeball will be bigger than the other. So those are things that are important. But look at the beautiful lines that you can get, with the ink mixtures and the Extreme Patriot Arrow. So in the coming months, we're going to have some really great news with the channel. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be fantastic. So we're looking forward to it. Yes, Dick Blick. Now, one thing that Ray was saying about Blick is that they really pack it well. That your paper comes, in good shape. So that's really good. Still can't find that paper. Wow. So definitely I could send you a link, or maybe Wendy could send you a link to the paper on Dick Blick. But you got to go online, not at a store though, Tone. That's the difference. So as you see here, we're seeing the underside of her eyelid. So that's important to know what you're painting, because that's going to really give you insight as to what's happening. Yeah, your power of observation is going to be there, but it's so much better if you understand what you're observing, right? So that's really important to realize, that you're seeing the underpart of her eyelid. Now I'm not erasing where I just painted with the airbrush. That would be bad. You have to wait for it to dry. I'm erasing where I was before. So let's continue molding this eye here with some of the darks here. Now I can see, I'm going to wait for that to dry, that this is a little bit larger, so I'm going to hold off on that. But I can go ahead and work on this dark area here. So right now we're basically sketching, that's what's important, is to sketch everything out. Working on the sort of the larger shapes, not getting too detailed just yet. Not wanting to build Rome in a day. It's a long road, and you want to make sure that you get there slowly. Remember, if you increase your distance, you're going to get more of a blend, right? So always remember that. Increase your distance. Paint in 3 dimensions. Use the 1 second rule. Those are 2 things that are really going to help you. You're not going to get those techniques anywhere else. Those learning principles. So that's something that, you know, you can take away from me right now, is the 1 second rule and paint in 3 dimensions. Those two things are really going to help you. So definitely, you know, take them with you, those principles. That's going to help you get control. Control and actually manipulate your airbrush, not have your airbrush control you. That happens so often to new airbrush artists, is that their airbrush is just kicking their butt, you know? It's just doing what it wants to do. They're getting too dark too early. They're not getting blends, all that other stuff. So definitely is, you know, one of the things that, you know, my ink mixtures eradicates. It just takes that and just makes it no more, which is really great. So I think there's a bigger distance between both sides of the upper eyelid over there. So where are my gloves? That's a good question. Here they are. And we're just gonna, I'm gonna sort of leave the eyes a little bit, and I'm just going to continue working on the whole first. Don't get too involved in one area. We'll come back to it. Now let's go ahead and work on the nostrils first. Now with the nostrils we have some hard edges, so we definitely want to use our freehand shield even in the early going, you know, but we want to look at the nostrils in a little more of a sophisticated way. It's not just a nostril, we're not just going in there and just painting in the nostril all hard edged. So let's look at the nostril together. So you see that there's a hard edge right here, and then this is just soft as heck, right? There's just bleeding right into it. You really don't see the edge so clearly, and so it's just hard edged here just as it turns there. Now on the second, you have a hard edge, you know, maybe right here, but then it sort of disappears totally over there. So that's how I want you to see things such as the nostril, not as just some, it's okay to get your values correct, you know, with the value finder, blah, blah, blah. However, you need to see the edges. You need to see, you know, what, you know, how are the borders from one value to another. You know, so those are things that are crucial, crucial, crucial. So I just wanted to share that with you. So this is part one. So part one, I get to share a lot of different things with you. So it's always good to see part one. And so we have a very interesting curve here, and we want to make sure that we get it correctly. Okay, so we're going to get this really hard edge, perpendicular and not parallel. So you see that hard edge that we're establishing? Very hard edged. Now once you establish a hard edge like that, it pretty much stays there for the rest of the painting. But you have to establish. Now I want it very soft, so I'm increasing my distance, and as you increase your distance, the edges get softer. So you see hard edge, soft edge. So I've been getting like a crazy amount of friend requests on Facebook. I mean, crazy. Have you guys been getting an increase in Facebook friend requests, or is it just me? I'm like close to 3,000. So soft edge over here, pretty soft edged. So I'm keeping my distance. So I'm just able to get that edge, you know? So let's go ahead and zoom in and see what's happening with that edge. So this is a good way for me to see the drawing as well. So looking at this, I can see that this pretty much comes in pretty low, this angle, and we only have a hard edge maybe right here, and then all this softens up. Okay, so that's good for us to see. and also make sure that this angle is correct. Okay, so we have a little bit of a hard edge on the top, so we're still going to do our perpendicular and not parallel. And then over here. And really have fun, you know, really enjoy yourselves, and remember the 1 second rule. If you're going to be painting for 1 second, you want to look for 1 second. And this is something that eventually will become second nature to you. So definitely recommend you guys going ahead and picking up my ink mixtures if you haven't already. I mean, it really is fantastic. They're airbrush inks, and just great to work with. Let's see if they show up. Yep, there you are. So right there, paintinglyphs.com, you can purchase them. And I'm going to be making a new batch this week, so they will be available to ship out as soon as you order. Okay, so you see I went ahead and did both nostrils. Now let's paint around those nostrils, okay? So, and if I made any painting errors, now's the time to fix it. There you go. This area was dry. Now let's go ahead and paint the that little dark that's right under the wing of the nostril, right here. It's not really a hard edge, so I don't have to go crazy with the freehand shield here. Just really concentrate on that 1 second rule. Try and find that shape. That's important, you know. Very light over here on this side of the nose, this side of the nostril as well. With the 1 second rule, we really are going to see the shapes. We're not going to sort of go off on our own tangent. I want to be soft edge, so I'm going to be a good distance away. All those different things are very important. You see the nostril sort of goes up into her nose. A little bit dark there, but that's okay. We'll fix that. See, the thing is, you know you can fix things. It's a light mixture. Everything looks dark now because everything else around it is so light. Remember that. So like before on the other side, let's worry about this little cast shadow right here. You have form shadows and you have cast shadows. Cast shadows, just like the name, is a shadow cast by an object, and that's what's important. Paint in 3 dimensions, I'm always going to tell you, and use the 1 second rule. If you're going to paint for 1 second, look for 1 second. If you're going to paint for 3 seconds, look for 3 seconds. And model that form, you know, model the forms. Go. Same thing over here. You want to model the forms of that nose. We're painting 3 dimensions. Right now we're looking at the large shapes only, and then we're going to get more specific. You know, parts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, that's when we really get into detail. Right now we are just looking at the large shapes. And we're not worried so much about whether or not it looks like her. That's not our problem. We're just worried about whether or not we're paying attention to our principles. Okay, so we're moving down, right? But let's worry about this little shadow area here on the form shadow of her nose. Remember, form shadow is the light and shade of any form, such as a hand, a face, lips, a toe. Form shadow is created from the object and the light and shade. Cast shadow is something that is cast shadow from an object getting in the way of the light source, casting a shadow upon another object. So this is a cast shadow, this is a form shadow, okay? Those differences are important. You know, we need to study them, because if we're really working on what we're doing, really understanding of what we're painting, we're going to have a much more profound interpretation of our subject. Okay, so remember, right here, there is this little dark here. And I think that's because there's a little indentation in her cartilage. So with that 1 second rule, I'm really going to look at that shape and see where it stops. Then I'm also going to see the other shapes in relation to that, and then the relation of the nostril to that dark shape. Mike says that would be a great ghost image. Yes, and that's true. That's pretty much what it is. It is like a ghost image, right? But the main things are there. So that's so true. You know, you do want to have almost like a cartoon of what's to come, you know? And that's a really good insight there. So we're going to move down to her lips, and then we're going to do the large shadow shapes on her cheeks there, the jawline, the zygomatic arch. Okay, so you see, so right now we're at oh my God, we're at 11:15, guys. Time's really flying, right? I can't believe how fast this is going. I guess I'm having too much fun hanging out with you guys. So let's go ahead and work on her lips here. Remember, super soft, because there are no hard edges here. If I was going to use a freehand shield on her lips, that would be horrible, because there are no hard edges really on her lips. So I'm about 1 inch away. My air pressure at the compressor is 25, and then I choke down with the MAC valve and the PAC valve, probably to around between 15 and 20. I'm at a, you know, I'm just pulling back ever so light with the light mixture, you know. Oh, so you would, so Mike says you'd like me to do a real portrait and then a family member that had passed next to them. That would be interesting, definitely. Oh wow, that's scary. I don't know if I want to do spiritual stuff like that there, Mike. Yeah, that's scary. Oh, so Emil says it's only 8:15 there. That's fantastic. So living in LA, it's still early. That's good. So as you can see, very slowly we're going to work on her lips there. And you see how we're just very slowly bringing things together. There's no rush here. There's no points for speed, right? So please do not worry about speed. Just worry about beauty. Remember that beautiful hard edge that we're going to get in the lower lips? That's what we're working on now. It's interesting. So right here, there's like a little concave space. I'm going to nail that right now. See that little concave space right there? Let me put this hole down here so the paper doesn't blow away. Now here's that hard edge. I don't want to lose that hard edge. It's a very important edge here in this painting. Ooh, see this? That's something. What if I went and painted that little hole was there? Oh my God. Let's get rid of that. So note to self, tape up these holes. There's no reason. Lesser artists use these little things in there. We don't need them. That's for, you know, we don't need those little cutouts. So let's, if you ever have them, go ahead and plug them up immediately. Those are for lesser artists. Not for you guys. So someone give a really quick, message. Oh, okay, cool. I do see. Yes, right, Brad. Tape up those holes. Right. Me and Brad were talking about that just on Friday, right? When we were doing our class together. Because that could always come back to haunt us. Talking about ghosts, that's going to haunt you. So right now we're just going to work on that really nice, beautiful hard edge right there. Hey, Jams, how you doing? Yes, cut your own. That's the best way. Being cheap does pay off, you know, because you have more control. That is so true. Good to see you there. How you doing, Jams? Welcome. Don't forget to leave a comment, guys, after the video is over. Leave a comment on this video or the last video if you haven't already. Just go ahead and say, hey, I want to be part of the running for the free 1-year subscription to Airbrush Step by Step magazine. So that's pretty cool. So Roger, the editor, was so gracious to say he would like to give away a free subscription to one of us here. So I thought that was really cool. So if you can, go ahead and get that magazine or subscribe to it. It's really great. Just fantastic. There we go. And let's increase our distance and get a better blend. So you see how things are sort of slowly coming together. So let's go ahead and work on, make sure there's no tip dry. Now what I do is, in my formulas now, I put a little bit of an additive to get less tip dry in my ink mixtures, which is really great. So the ink mixtures, the formula is getting better. I'm doing improvements. So that's good. So James says you need to put out a lot of smoothing on the edges is the only problem with making them. My guest says, I can understand. James says he just bought a CMSB on my recommendation and upgraded immediately with Drew's soft spring trigger. Love it. Fantastic. Yeah, it's a great airbrush, man. You know, I mean, that's just like butter, you know. And with the inks, the CMSB is going to work amazing. Now, we're not going to erase too soon because we still need some of those lines that we projected and drew with. So that's why we are going to calm down on the erasing just yet. Now these pencil lines will go away rather easily, so no worries. As you can see with the Extreme Patriot Arrow, how much detail I can get and how much control. Now right here is interesting because this is where the lip sort of comes in. So let's take a quick look and I'll show you. So I'll show you the anatomy of this lip and why you just have to look at lips for what they are and not what you think they are. So if you look at her lips here, it comes in, but that's not where her lip starts, not at all. See, the bottom of the lip sort of comes here out. So this comes in, then up. So there's no clear delineation of where her lip begins. That's so important because that's what's going to make your work from, let's say, looking pretty good to looking like, oh my God, this is great. So that's these little things for you to look at when doing portraiture is really going to go a long way. Brad says the plastic between two pieces of plywood and then cut them, that's really great. So yeah, Brad has a great technique for making them. And I've seen them firsthand via Skype. So let's go ahead and work on those lips there, this upper lip. I'm just going to model the light and dark here. Ever so, look how soft edge that is. So totally soft edge, you know. Hot glue your pattern and then peel it off. Wow, look at that. You know, I learned so much from you guys. So I really appreciate all your comments and feedback. You guys are just fantastic. So you see how I'm actually looking at those lips as they are and trying not to look at them as lips. I know that's crazy, right? Don't look at them as lips, yet paint the lips, right? What are you saying, Tim? I know, it's kind of confusing, but if you can just, you know, look at them as lips, but at the same time really see what's going on. Pretend they're not lips and see, you know, where it starts, you know, where those shapes start. That'll be so crucial. Remember, you want a soft edge, you increase your distance, right? You're painting in 3 dimensions, guys. See, we're not worried about, you know, how fast we're going. I'm not worried about how fast we're going. That's not my concern. My concern is doing it right, sticking with the recipe. You know, there's a special recipe, you know, with that. Yes, shapes, not objects. Right on the money, James, that's for sure. So Brad says, I'm the man. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate this. I appreciate you guys coming, and thank you for that great comment there, Brad. You know, this is really a very cool group, and it just keeps growing. And next week we're going to announce the winner of that contest. So definitely go on to Facebook and check out the Ink Flingers group, and we meet there, show up our artwork during the week, and so that's really cool. So as you see, just ever so slowly, I am increase the air pressure there. Now, if it ever feels funny, don't go, if your airbrush ever feels funny, don't ever go on to your painting. Try and figure out if it's something that you're feeling or whatever. So everything's okay. Now you can go on to your painting. I like to paint at a 45-degree angle. Sort of born out of a need to show you guys, but then I decided I like it. because I can see everything. This is all very fuzzy here. So even though there's a pencil line, it's all very fuzzy there. I'm going to model that lip there. So as you can see, just, you know, just looking at the shapes. They're lips, yes, but really they're shadow shapes. Spending a little more time on the lips, very, very complex area. There we go. Same thing over here, very complex area. And then we have a little shadow on each side. Don't worry about likeness, guys. Not at this stage. We don't worry about likeness until part 7. That's when likeness really starts coming. Have a great night, Brad. I will see you on Thursday. See you on Skype. It is 11:28. I always give you guys the full 2 hours, so we're almost done. So now we're basically at 11:29. We can go ahead and stop. Okay, guys, so here we are. This is where we are today. Let me see if I can just pull this in just a little bit, and then see if I can show you just the layout. Let me see if I raise this up. Oh, let's go this way. So you can basically see what the painting is looking like. Okay, so that's cool. So right now you see, so this is where we are, pretty much is the whole painting. And so we have a good start. We have the frisket and we came in with the white, and now we're just gonna slowly build things up. Thanks, Tone, I appreciate that. And just build things up. Thanks, James, I appreciate that. Just very slowly with the light mixture. Everything's so subtle. We got plenty of time to make things dark. Hey, take care. So good to see you, Mr. Todd. So this is where we are. Next week, we're going to come in with the light mix. We're going to stay with the light mixture probably 2 more weeks, and then come with the medium mixture, and then really just play around with some of this frisket. We'll be peeling some stuff away, getting some softer edges, some harder edges. We definitely don't want just all hard edges. So everyone, a lot of names here. I just want to thank everyone for being here. Don't forget, hit the like button. Just make sure you subscribed, and in the comment section say you want to be part of the running for the free 1-year subscription to Airbrush Step by Step magazine. I hope you have a great week, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Always a pleasure. What a great Wednesday.